If you're feeling stuck with Amazon KDP because your books are not selling and you're not sure what to change, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to create a perfect KDP listing that actually gets results, and I'm going to show you how to properly set up your title, subtitle, description, and keywords the right way so Amazon's algorithm can find and recommend your book. I'm also going to look at multiple real listings from our KDP community and break down what's working, what's hurting performance, and how to fix it. There's not going to be any hype, no fluff, just clear, proven advice you can use today to improve your visibility, rankings, and sales. Alright, so let's get right into this video. And just quickly, in case you're new to this channel, Cleo and I have sold over 240,000 books between our different KDP accounts. And we also have a free Facebook group with 230,000 authors in it that you can also join. And with our self-publishing Titans tools, we have helped over 300,000 authors publish their books on Amazon. So just a really quick thing about us, and let's get right into this first book here. So here we're looking at our self-publishing Titans Chrome extension. We can see that this book does not have a bestseller rank. So as a hardcover version, this book has not gotten any sales yet. So let's figure out what we can do to help this author out. So we're going to look at the entire listing, find all the missed opportunities, the mistakes, and then figure out ways to handle that. And let's start by looking at the title here. So it says freedom after 400 pounds. So that sounds okay, but I'm already starting to see the first smaller mistakes here. So here we can see we capitalized freedom, and then here we're capitalizing one word fully, and then here we're capitalizing all the first letters of these words, but then after pounds, we're not capitalizing. So it's a bit inconsistent. So it's not as professional as a title could be or should be. These are obviously not the biggest mistakes, but we're looking at all the mistakes and missed opportunities from really small to really big because they all end up making a difference. So this is one thing that I would change already. So now let's look at the subtitle. So it says 200 plus pounds gone, real change, no gimmicks, life reclaimed. So obviously it's a really powerful book and it deserves to get a lot of attention and readers. But the other thing that was slightly confusing is the 400 pounds and then 200 pounds. So we kind of have two figures here. I guess the first one is how much the starting weight was and then how much was lost. But I feel like we just focus on how much weight loss was achieved and that would be just clear. And then we don't have a need to have two numbers and 2 times the pounds in the title and subtitle. So I think that'll just make it even more clear and just as impactful to a potential reader, especially to those that are trying to lose weight. And then the only other thing here that we are missing is a main keyword. So what's the long tail keywords that we're trying to get this book ranking for? Like, what is the ideal customer searching for? So we're just going to quickly use the self-publishing Titans Chrome extension to look at some keywords. And in case you're not familiar with that, you can go to the Google Chrome store and just type in self-publishing Titans, and it'll be the bottom extension right here. And this is the brand new all-in-one extension, which replaces these two prior ones. So if you do have one of these, you can uninstall them and just use this one. And this is the one that's all of our future upgrades and updates are going to. So you definitely want to use this one. So here we can see all of the Amazon search suggestions for any given niche. We can see the estimated monthly search volume for any keywords. We can also see the exact amount of results, aka competitors, and we can also see the demand score and opportunity scores that we created. So these go from 0 to 9, and what we're looking for ideally is anything higher than a 5 on both demand and opportunity. So here we can see weight loss book for men that has a demand score of 6 and opportunity of 7. So that would already be ideal, but obviously this is either general or targeting women. So weight loss logbook, that would be a good keyword, but this is not really a logbook. Weight loss book journal, decent. Menopause weight loss book, 5 and 9. And any of these keywords that are applied to your book, you can also put in these 7 backend keywords that will also definitely help you with your search algorithm. Menopausal weight loss book. So this looks quite interesting. Meal prep book, weight loss for women. Demand 5, opportunity 9. Weight loss book, PCOS. Weight loss book for women over 30. So this sounds like it could be applicable to you potentially. Demand of 5 and 8. Weight loss books for women over 40. Demand of 5, opportunity 5. Weight loss books for women over 50, 5 and 4, not the best. Over 30 seems like a good keyword, because people in their 40s or 50s can also enjoy that book. Weight loss cookbooks for women, 5 and 7. So definitely some good keywords. And then obviously you can also type in different keywords. You can do also just variations of these keywords and then keep doing that until you find the best keywords that you like. Those you can use for your title or subtitle, and then definitely use 7 backend keywords. And obviously these ones we can also target on your Amazon ads when doing keyword campaigns. So the reason this is important, because if you just look at your title and subtitle, there's no keyword in here that people are searching for on Amazon. So we don't even have weight loss in the title, which would have been great. So if this book does not sell anytime soon, I would probably consider redoing your title, which would unfortunately mean unpublishing it. Maybe you can unpublish it and republish it with your same name, or if the name is not your name, this is just a pen name, then create a different pen name and just republish all of those, just to give your title better chances for organic rankings, but also click-through rates. Because if you have a title that is not only optimized for SEO, it will also often be optimized for higher click-through rates and better interest for potential buyers. So here, if you have a really nice title, people will also be more interested to click on it and find out more about it. So this is what I would do with your title. Looking at your cover, I mean, first of all, really well done for losing so much weight. These results are impressive. So you can definitely see a great picture from before and after. So definitely want to acknowledge you and validate you for sharing your journey publicly. That's really fantastic. So we definitely want you to do well and get your message heard to many. But the cover here also deserves a lot more improvements, especially for this kind of book. If I'm just being honest here, I would find that this cover is obviously impressive with the before and after, but just talking about the general design, it feels kind of plain, and it definitely has a bit of a vibe that it was made in Canva or Google Docs or something like that. And it doesn't really give the most premium feel to it, which obviously your book would deserve. What I would suggest is that you find somebody on Fiverr. You could find somebody for $10 or $20 or $30 to help you make a beautiful cover that really does this justice. And I think that would also be a really great benefit. Let's just quickly use our Self-Publishing Titans AI listing analyzer. And I'm just going to look at your cover here. So under improvement, it says the text placement and color combinations, while bold, could be better harmonized to increase smooth readability, especially in smaller thumbnail views. Using a more professional and cohesive font style could improve overall polish and trustworthiness. And then under the opportunity, it says incorporating a more visually balanced layout with subtle background elements or visual cues related to health and wellness could elevate the cover's appeal. Adding a tagline or brief benefit-driven phrase near the title could emphasize the book's unique promise, driving stronger emotional connection and clicks. So just quick feedback from our AI. And just one quick thought I had while looking at your back cover here is I'm not even sure that you would have to show the before and after here. This is something that could also be on the back cover, and then the front cover could just be focused on theme based around your main keywords like weight loss journey for women, or weight loss for women after the age of 50 or after 30, whatever you end up choosing. And yeah, just one more thought, but you could hire somebody to create a couple of versions for you, different design styles and different texts, and just see which one you think is the nicest. You could even post this in our Facebook group for free, obviously, and ask for feedback to see what people think about it, and then go with that. So next, let's look at your description here. So without clicking on read more, the first thing that stood out is that one cannot read your bullet points. So your bullet points are your most important part of your description. So if they are not easily seen without clicking a button, then that's just a missed opportunity, because not every potential buyer has enough reach to actually click on that button and read more. They might just scroll past it and find another book. So the more attention you can grab from your potential buyer, the better. And bullet points are usually a great way of doing that. So we definitely want to make sure that they are higher up here at the top, so you can see your 5 bullet points. Now, the next thing that I'm noticing here is that we have also way too many bullet points. We have 5 here, then we have another 5 here, and then maybe 6 or 7 here. So overall, it's just way too many. It's almost like the whole description is just bullet points and benefits and whatever else. So it almost takes away from the bullet points, because now everything kind of feels like a bullet point. So what I would do is figure out which of these are the 5 most important, and then only having those as bullet points, and then put them right below this line right here. And then that'll be much better. And whatever doesn't make it in the 5 bullet points, you can also turn those into paragraphs, or if they weren't even important, just get rid of it, and that's also fine. And then the other thing we can definitely want to do here is have a call to action at the very bottom of your description for someone to buy your book now. It's just a simple sentence, but it can only help you get more sales. So moving right along, let's look at the A+ content. So great job for having A+ content in the first place. This is fantastic. And once again, just want to congratulate you on your big transformation journey and the weight loss journey. So this is really, really great and really awesome that you're sharing this journey online. So looking at your A+ content, I think it's nice having this image. I don't think we need to have a huge green background. I think instead we could just make these images larger. And one more suggestion I have on that is I would probably find somebody to help you edit your images, just to take the background out or just kind of make it a little bit nicer as a one image, just kind of compositioned together, just so it's not so separated. And then having the name here like that also doesn't feel as premium or nice as it could. So I think this could be slightly improved, but the idea that you had with the before and after here is great. So let's keep that, but let's just improve on this section. Now next here, I like the positive message here, but I would probably find some other lifestyle image here, maybe of someone else that has lost weight or is losing weight, or just something, because right here we just have a nice colorful background, but it's kind of taking up so much space and the text is quite short. So it almost feels like it's a little bit of a wasted space here. And I feel like we could fill the space out with more meaningful images, like a lifestyle image or something related to weight loss, and not just a nice colorful background. And then otherwise, here we also have so many bullet points. So I feel like it's just adding even more to the ones we already had here. And instead, what I would do is just have more images. I would have images of maybe things that are inside your book, maybe a quote from your book, maybe some other images that represent what's inside your book. Maybe you have some workout routines or some health tips or some meal plan tips or cooking tips. Just want to highlight those in images, just make it even more clear. And then that would add more value than even more text, because not every person wants to read so many bullet points before deciding what they want to buy. Like, this is just almost too much text for someone to read. Rather show them images, because an image can communicate so much more and so much faster than all these words. So I would definitely do that. Let's look at your author section. So nice that you have an image here. What I would suggest is, instead of having these small ones and then so much text here, which is kind of hard to read, is just maybe having your current image. So just this one here and just the upper image, so your face, and just having it large by itself. I think that would be a nicer look here. And then here we have a nice description of yourself, which is great. And then you also have plenty of reviews. So then the next thing I just want to point out, which you did really well, is having all 4 book formats. So we have the Kindle book with Kindle Unlimited, which is great. I always encourage people to use the Kindle Unlimited program. You also have an audiobook, which is fantastic, hardcover version and paperback. So you have all 4. And the reason this is so great is because all 4 books individually can rank on Amazon as its own product. So it basically gives you 4 times the chances of having success with your book. So really, really important for sales, for organic rankings, and just longevity on Amazon. So really, really fantastic. I really feel like you have a good foundation. Now we just need to fine tune it and improve it. And then I feel like you can really do well, especially because you have all 4 book types. So just to quickly recap, we definitely want to have your title changed with a nice long tail keyword that people are searching for and a nice subtitle to go along with that. We definitely want to have a really, really premium quality image for your cover, because people do judge a book based on its cover. And this just doesn't do it justice, especially the amount of transformation that you have gone through. So definitely find somebody to make a beautiful cover for you. Update your 7 backend keywords with long tail keywords for your niche, and then just update your description and A+ content. But definitely think you have good potential there. And then for your kind of journey and transformation, I think you would do really well on social media. You can do TikTok videos, you can do Instagram videos, YouTube shorts, things like that, just to promote your journey, promote your books. And I feel like this could turn into a full brand where you can share your weight loss journey, you can share cooking recipes, meal plans. This could also be a series on Amazon by itself, where you have a meal plan, a weight loss tracker, all these different kinds of books that people would benefit from. Yeah, so that would be my feedback for you. And let's go on to the next one. So here we have a book in the United United Kingdom. So here we have a book from the UK, and this is a coloring book and also not currently getting any sales. So let's figure out why. The first reason I can tell you already is your cover. It kind of just grabbed my attention. Obviously we have a nice image here, the main image here, but then just having a huge purple border and then this kind of text with the 3D effect around it just doesn't scream like a premium coloring book. It just feels like you're trying to be creative yourself on Canva, which is obviously great. I like that you're putting so much time and effort into this, but unfortunately this is not the kind of book that's going to get in the top 100 on Amazon or even a subcategory. So it's just the truth here. So what I would do is, if you don't have any money to hire somebody in Fiverr, I would probably just get rid of the border and just use this main image here and drag it to the very edges here. And then I think that by itself will already look much nicer. And then you can have a coloring book or princess coloring book at the top, or princess and then coloring book in the bottom. And even if you do that, I think that would be an improvement by itself. But while we're looking at the cover, what you did right here is displaying some coloring pages here, which is great. This is really important for low content and medium content kind of books, because these kinds of books, people want to really see the quality of the pages that they will be using. And the best way to do that is by showing it on the back cover, because people can see that right at the top of your listing. And if there is no back cover available for preview, then definitely want to always have that in your A+ content. And then I'm just noticing here that the purple seems to kind of not go all the way, and we have the ISBN kind of sticking out. So maybe just check that. So this looks odd. But moving along, let's check your title to see what's happening here. So we have Princess Coloring Book for Girls. Just double check that. So we have coloring, the UK spelling or the British spelling, Princess Coloring Book for Kids. But the thing that we see here is that, like, Princess Coloring Book for Kids, only 200 people are searching for this. The domain is a 2 and opportunity is a 1. Princess Coloring Book for Girls here, we have 23,000 competitors and the domain is only a 4. 4 is not horrible, but we always want to find something ideally 5 or higher. Obviously the higher and closer to a 9 the better, but 5 is already in the green, so that's okay. But here we can see the opportunity is a 3, so not the best here. We're kind of 2 points below where we want to be. So this is already telling us that this is also one of the reasons we're not getting sales. But even more than the keyword here, I promise you, the cover unfortunately will be just not getting you click-through rates and conversion rates. So I feel like this is the bigger problem out of the 2 already. Definitely want to fix that first. But here we can already see that unfortunately we didn't choose the best keyword. Obviously there's a slight amount of domains, but high competition for it. So what I would do if this doesn't continue doing well is maybe choosing a different niche. Even if it is princess themed, it doesn't mean you have to use princess in your title. You could just show that in your cover and then your images. And it could just be a coloring book for girls and just some other variation of that niche. But moving along here, let's look at your subtitle. Now, the other thing here obviously is that this title and subtitle is 3 lines long, and 3 lines is just too long for my own personal preference. And I don't really recommend these days having a title that's longer than 2 lines, because that's plenty long enough to have all the keywords. And the reason I say that is because who actually wants to read a title that's 3 lines long? It's just too much text, potentially overwhelming and just maybe even confusing. Definitely not the best. And then the other point is, just as important, the Amazon search algorithm has to understand what your book is about. So the more keywords and words you have in there, the potentially harder and more complicated it is for an algorithm to understand what your book is about, and it could even misunderstand it. So that's just the other thing. So let's just read this quickly here. And before reading it, the other thing I'm noticing here is that the title, we capitalized the words correctly, but then for whatever reason, we stopped doing that on the subtitle. So that's something that I also don't recommend doing. Consistency is definitely important and just helps with your overall professionalism and just overall performance. So I always suggest definitely capitalizing the correct words here. So it says 40 pages of beautiful illustrations of princesses wearing gorgeous dresses and crowns and tiaras with cute adorable animals, 8.5 by 11 inches. So definitely a big mouthful. And we don't also have any additional keywords in there necessarily. So it's kind of describing the book, which is fine. And in some cases that can also be really good. But here we could have had also more opportunities for having more keywords in your subtitle. So when it comes to coloring books, activity books, and puzzle books, one can definitely put nice keywords in the subtitle that people are searching for as well, just to boost your rankings with other keywords as well. So definitely something I would recommend. And having 8.5 by 11 inches like this is not really necessary because people are not searching for it like that. If anything, it would be 8.5 x 11. But the other thing is people can also see the size of the book here. And the only thing I'm questioning is if you're in the UK, people are also not really searching for inches. So that's also a bit of a mixed signal. And I'm wondering if that even hurts your conversion rates if people in the UK just want UK books, because this makes it seem like an American book. So maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something. It's just something to think about. And the only other thing to consider here is in the UK, people would be searching for A4 or something like that. So maybe that would be a keyword, but you would have to check that out with the Titans Chrome extension. And then we also don't have to have a period at the end. Definitely not necessary. So definitely some things to consider fixing. And if this doesn't pick up sales, I would probably just also unpublish this, redo your title, redo your cover, and then republish this with the same interior. I think that could be really good. So moving on to the description. So here we can see it's all in bold, and that's not really the best. It's not the nicest, and it doesn't look the most professional. And also if everything's in bold, then nothing seems more important than the other thing. So one thing you can do is choose to have important words in bold, or maybe the bullet points in bold, but not everything. Because if everything is in bold, nothing really stands out, and then it just kind of has no benefit for it. So you'll also see that most listings don't use all bold in the description. So this is not the most common practice either. What I do like here is that we have bullet points. We have 6 instead of 5, and some of them are also kind of short and unnecessary. So here you already have 8.5 inches, but then the very first bullet point is the same thing. So that's kind of a slight waste here, and then printed on white paper. I feel like it's almost a given. I don't know what else it would be printed on. And premium, I don't know if that's the best word with Amazon KDP. The paper that Amazon uses is kind of mediocre at best. So I probably wouldn't say that, because if someone is looking for a premium paper and they get this book and it's not premium, then you'll just get yourself a bad review. So I would change this one to single-sided coloring pages. So that's a good bullet point that's important for coloring books. Glossy cover could be mentioned, but I don't think it's worth mentioning it. Like, I don't think anyone is looking for a glossy cover when buying a coloring book. Like, I myself would not care if it's matte or glossy or whatever else it is. So that is not really a feature benefit for anybody. Perfect gift for children ages 6 and above, and adults. So this here is also a bit of a red flag here. If you have a coloring book that's made for kids ages 6, then almost most likely this is not suitable for adults. And the other thing is, if you are targeting kids or girls in the title, you should never target adults in the same thing, because the age group is just too big. Also, Amazon doesn't like that, especially if it's in your title. Having it in the description, I guess, is okay technically. In the title, sometimes you'll even get a reject because they think it just doesn't go well with kids and adults. But this is also definitely not helping your conversions. And here, 40 beautiful enchanting illustrations, that's fine. But we've already set that here. So out of these 6 bullet points that you had, 2 of them were duplicates, so they didn't really add any value, and then most of them just weren't the best ones. So I would kind of rethink your book to see what would be the 5 most important things that you would want to tell somebody, and other ways of explaining what your book is about, and I think you'll get much better results on that. So looking at your A+ content, great job for having A+ content in the first place, great job for putting in the time and effort. So the text is kind of hard to read almost with pink, like it's almost like hardcore brightness or something like that. So I don't know if that's the best execution here. I would maybe try white text to see if that looks slightly nicer. I like to add some flowers here, kind of a nice touch. Okay, so here's what's really important. So here we have more pages of before and after. They're colored in, so that's great. So this is a great job. The rest is fine. Now let's look at your categories. The categories are really important because Amazon uses them as part of the search algorithm to understand what your book is about and for the rankings. So we always want to make sure that they are relevant to your book. So here it says children's books on painting, children's book on drawing. So these 2 are potentially fine, but usually it would be best to have coloring book categories instead. Children's book on drawing, dragons, unicorns, mythical creatures, tales for children. So definitely a big missed opportunity here is not having a single category that's coloring books. So you definitely want to change your categories to coloring book categories. That will definitely help. And we do have 1 review, which is good, better than nothing. So this is my feedback for you. Definitely a lot of changes to be made, but I guess this was really instructive, and I really hope that this helps you not only with this book, but with all the other books you end up creating. And I wish you the best of luck. So now let's look at the next one. So here we have another coloring book today. So this is a book that is also currently not getting any sales. So let's figure out the why for this book. So for this one, we're going to start with the title and subtitle. So it says The Love of God Bible Versus Coloring Book, and then the subtitle is for adults. So huge long title, and then the smallest subtitle I think I've ever seen. So it's kind of backwards. Usually the title, if anything, is really short and the subtitle is kind of long. But then overall for a coloring book, the title and subtitle combined is really short. So here we don't even have a full line worth of words in the title. So it's definitely on the short side, which is not the best thing. What is good on this title is that we have a keyword here. So Bible versus coloring book. So Bible versus coloring book, so we can see the demand is good and the opportunity is good, so that's not the problem. The only other thing that we could have improved here is having Bible versus coloring book as the title itself and not the love of God, and that could have been part of the subtitle. But if you have the exact match keywords at the very front, that would be even better, because people obviously read the cover left to right. So if they can see Bible versus coloring book before, that's only just giving them a hint that this book is exactly what they're looking for when you type in this keyword. So that would be another thing we can improve. So if anything, it could have been Bible versus coloring book for adults as the title, and then a nice long subtitle. So in the subtitle, you can say what kind of pages it is, what the pages are about. And you can just look at the competitors to see what they did for their subtitles and take inspiration from that. So I would definitely redo that. Looking at your cover, so kind of a nice self-colored image it looks like, but then this almost looks random. So this image here, I feel like doesn't match the style and the design of the rest. So it kind of feels like this was pasted in by itself. I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you my personal feedback, because obviously we're looking for all the reasons we're not getting sales. And then the other thing is, having so much white space on a cover is just not the best practice. It really doesn't stand out nicely. It doesn't really grab much attention, and it's just not the normal practice for a coloring book. So what I would do is probably just redo this entire image, maybe even hire somebody on Fiverr, find someone for $10, $20 to create a nice one for you. So let's look at your description. So here, nice description, looks like it's a decent size, not too short, not too long. We also have bullet points, which is good. A couple of things I could critique on is, one, we don't have a call to action at the end of your description, like, you know, buy the book now kind of thing. And then a slight thing, which I'm always recommending, is that you have a space after the last bullet points before it goes to the next paragraph, just to give your bullet points that deserving space. Now the next thing is that we can't see all the bullet points. So that's one thing we always want to make sure we avoid, and we do that by having the bullet points short enough and high enough so they don't get cut off, because obviously those are the most important ones. And then my personal preference, what I always tell people, is that I would not make a bullet point longer than one line. Having a full line for one bullet point is already really, really long, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having a bullet points. Bullet points are meant to be short and to the point, and then that should also solve the issue of not being able to read it. So those are the changes I would make here, and let's look at the rest here. Okay, so you have A+ content, which is great. So I like that you show the size of the pages. That's a nice touch. I like that you say how many Bible verses it has and also how many designs. And then here you're showing the before and after. So that's kind of a nice touch. I like that. So here, this is all good. So those are all fine. I wouldn't have much to change on that. It looks decent enough. So let's look at your categories. So religious art and photography, definitely not the right category because it's not photography. Ritual religious practices, this is also not the right category for a coloring book. And then religious inspirational coloring books for grown-ups. So this one's a good one. So good job for that. But these two are definitely missed opportunities. And if you just think about it, like if you tell Amazon that your book is about arts and photography, it gets a completely wrong idea. And Amazon uses the categories to rank your book. So this is definitely not helping your sales and rankings. And in ritual religious practices, I don't think there's any rituals in your book. So this is just also confusing the Amazon algorithm. So definitely want to change that. But here you have a nice branded image and a short description, so that's fine. So the main things to fix is your categories, for sure, title, subtitle, and your cover. And I think you'll have much better results already. So I hope that was helpful. And if you want me to look at your book, just go to selfpublishingtitans.com/review and you can submit your book to me right here. And otherwise, please leave a comment and a like to support this channel and subscribe for more daily videos. I make them every single day. So see you tomorrow. Bye.